Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. In today's video, we're going to be discussing our first little teaser trailer for the Kidz Power Rangers series. It's basically like an officially approved fan film that are using suit designs inspired by Tokujay, in case you didn't see the news about it. Episode 1 is slated to release this October, and we got our first teaser, and it looks about how you'd expect. And I think the worst thing about this is the needless discourse about it, especially amongst the Sentai purists being insufferable as usual, and people seeming to think that this is like the new main thing. I certainly don't think a lot of the way this looks and using MMPR and whatnot is doing the series' reputation any favors, but similar to when they announced the MMPR remaster, there are certain people acting like this is meant to be the new main project, when I think it's even further from the remaster as a main project. This is basically just a little fan film thing that's meant to be harmlessly enjoyed. And I could take it or leave it. Like, I kind of appreciate we're getting it in the sense that it's kind of cool to see these suits in action and it's mildly amusing, but like I said, I don't necessarily think it's going to do the series' reputation any favors, but I don't know if necessarily that will impact any chance of like a more casual audience latching onto a reboot, because who knows if this is even going to reach them. You know, it's going to reach all the chronically online people, especially the Toku community, but I don't know if many people that might watch the reboot are going to remember this or like have this impact their opinion of it. But the thing is like, it's a fan film, so in general those aren't always going to look the best in terms of comparing it to like a Hollywood production or a regular Power Rangers production or whatever. Like, I still really like the suit designs for these. I think it's really cool we get to see these, and they don't look the greatest here. Again, it's a fan film though, but I feel like if they were made for a regular production and had different lighting and shooting, then they would look even better, but they don't look the greatest here. I would say it's kind of funny though, in kind of the fight scenes we see, whether it's civilian or with the Rangers, you know, just thinking about, yeah, it looks like a fan film, but it also does not look too dissimilar from Once and Always. I mean, in general, a few of the fight scenes in the Hasbro era, but Once and Always in particular, because that was such a weird mix of like, you'd have scenes with like Zach and Billy talking in the living room, and it seemed like it was shot like it was an actual like Netflix update reboot movie, and then you have the shots of them fighting in Angel Grove or whatever, and it looks just like this, which I find to be funny. The cast is apparently like the Ninja Kids themselves that they did a skit when they were younger, and we open up with them morphing, and they do this interesting thing where they kind of have this wrist glow that they lay down before they do the morph, and they have kind of a morphing sequence like the original series. And we've seen looks at some of the other suits before, like we saw Goldar, and Goldar looks like a very well put together fan suit. Zedd's too. I do like the look of Zedd's design. Probably the most interesting thing about it though is they're going with this take on Zedd where he's not like a disfigured person in a suit, but rather it morphs him kind of like the Zedd Ranger in the comics. And the businessman character very much feels like the business character. Was it Masked Rider or VR Troopers? I think it was VR Troopers. I don't know. I saw someone mention that it reminds them of that. Like maybe they swapped the shows up. And I find that idea really funny, that they have like a vague understanding of like an amalgam of all the old Saban shows and just put this together based on that. Like imagine how funny it would be if all of a sudden they were at Hillhurst Manor and the Hillhurst monsters just showed up. Like, I don't mind that idea. It doesn't upset me. It might upset some people. Again, this is just a harmless little fan film with that. It's not like it's a huge deal, but if this was the reboot and they did that, I wouldn't mind either, because I love when you stray from the source material, because the source material already exists. Let's do some new stuff. The Rita design looks interesting. It kind of looks like one you'd see out of the comics. I think I only caught a small glimpse of Finster, but I do kind of like the look of his design. You also have this thing going on with like this robber called, I think, the Dragon, who's been like robbing high facilities. That's where you just get high, man. Just get high, man. We're in the high facility. No, like a high tech facilities or whatever. I'm gonna imagine this is Tommy or whatever, but I think if I remember right from the set photos and stuff, we're doing White Ranger instead of green. So I don't know, it just reminded me of like Tommy in the Ninja Turtles comics where he was like wearing the ninja outfit and stuff, and I think was undercover or whatever. So I just, because of the dragon in there, I assumed that's what it was gonna be. I don't remember, honestly. There's a helmetless pic, I think, of the White Ranger, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. I mean, I remember the pic exists, but I can't remember the dude's face. I'm really bad with faces and names anyway, but yeah, that's kind of interesting. And then there's a moment where they're like, Jason, you have to step up, and he's in the Fortress of Solitude. And perhaps one of the more interesting things in this is them training on a weird alien planet with dinosaurs. Like, there's a shot of, I think, Jason, like, doing karate moves on a planet that has, like, I think, like, it looks like a mini Brachiosaurus or something, and there's, like, 2 planets in the distance, and then there's a couple more shots of the others training wearing, like, more, I guess for lack of a better word, ancient-looking clothes, which is interesting. They obviously just went to the Dino Charged Earth where dinosaurs exist, but I was almost thinking, wouldn't it be interesting, what if the backstory of these characters was the Jew-Rangers backstory, and they're actually from ancient times? But I'm going to imagine maybe in the story of whatever this series is, they have to go there for training at some point. I don't know. That was kind of interesting. And then at the end, you just get the logo, and there's a little version of the MMPR theme, which we only get like maybe 15, 20 seconds of it, but I actually quite like it for what it is, for yet another Go-Go Power Rangers riff. But yeah, you know, I'm not expecting too much out of this. I'm just expecting something that will mildly entertain me in the meantime until we get news of the reboot or get news of the reboot's canceled. You know, it certainly could look better. Like I said, I don't know if it does any favors for the franchise reputation. I'm certainly interested to see a couple of things they do in this, like with Businessman Zedd and whatever this planet is or whatever, but I'm not putting too much stock into this, like, oh, this will make or break the franchise. I think at this point, you know, we can't go much lower, so we might as well just ride it out and see what happens. But anyways, guys, what did you think of this teaser? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.